administering our business meetings. Sometimes we still fall short of our commitment to Quaker process by failing to leave space after someone speaks. But we are going to endeavor to address this issue as we move forward in 2023.
Thank you, Pam.
Mm-hmm.
We are gathered on the unceded land of the indigenous peoples of our region and on whose land we now live. I ask you to join me in acknowledging these indigenous communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. South Central Yearly Meeting also acknowledges that it was founded upon the exclusions and erasures of many indigenous peoples beyond those on whose land we live. We further acknowledge our commitment to participate in the process of working to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism wherever and whenever called upon to do so. Good evening, friends. I'd like to welcome everyone to 2023 SCYM annual sessions. This is the first meeting for worship with attention to business. Just a reminder to everybody to use the raise hand symbol under reactions at the bottom of your screen. If you need to speak, to keep your mute on otherwise. And I mentioned this yesterday, just the tendency to meet online and to move more quickly is often an issue. Please try to allow some space between speakers. More as though we were meeting in person. It seems to be a little less of a thing when we meet electronically. So just a reminder of that. I'm Bill Wilkinson. I'm the clerk for a little while. I'll introduce some others later. Jessica's not with us tonight, from what I can tell. And I do not see any visitors. Is anybody a visitor? I'm just not seeing one.
Nova's here, right?
I do not see Nova.
She's here.
Oh, there she is. Thank you for raising your hand, Nova. So Nova's from FTC. Do you want to say hello and tell us a little about yourself once again?
Sure thing. Hi, I'm having dinner, and so that is why I am muted in my video. Don't want to put you all in the position of watching me eat chickpeas. I am Nova. All pronouns are great for me. I am the FGC Spiritual Deepening Associate, and I also am an attender at Brooklyn Monthly Meeting in New York. And I'm really happy to be here as a noticer, as a visitor.
Thanks so much.
Hello.
Okay. Any other visitors? Okay. I would like to introduce the tech team. Hopefully I have all this right. Kevin King, I don't believe is on tonight, but he's part of the tech team. Edwin Campbell, Ann Collins, Chris Drexler, Liz Wolf, and Scott Carmack. Are you still on the tech team? Okay, yay.
I am, yeah.
Cool. So, so if you really like what's going on with Zoom, let me know. If you really hate what's going on with Zoom, let one of the tech people know. All right. I do have a couple of quick announcements. So first is just a reminder, if your meetings have not yet done so, any memorial minutes or celebrations of births and marriages, please get those to Chris Drexler. He is collecting those, and that will be part of meeting on Sunday morning. So again, if you're aware of any that haven't been submitted yet, or are curious as to whether or not your meeting has submitted some things, please reach out to your meeting and get that information to Chris. Chris, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I put in the chat my email address, I think, so you can see it there. And if not, I'll put it in again. Let me put it, I think I sent that to you, Bill. I'll put it in the regular chat.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for that. The other thing is that I would like to lift up and ask you all to, oh, Liz, I'm sorry.
That's okay, Bill. I just wanted to say, if you don't know who to send something to, every email has my address, an email address at the bottom that you're getting. So it's liz.yates@scym.org, and I will get it to the right place. So if you're doubtful as to where to get something to, please send it to me.
Thank you. I'd ask that everybody hold in the light Betty Richardson. She has she's been on a vent for some 4 weeks now, and has been moved to a trach and is sedated. She's in a long-term care facility, and right now that's about as much as I know. But I would ask you all to keep her in the light. Pam, did you want to add something?
I just wanted to say she was originally diagnosed with COVID on January the 19th and has been dealing with it ever since. She had some false tests that gave her a false sense of security.
Right.
But it's been a while now.
Yeah, and this is in addition to some other health issues. So.
Mm-hmm.
Do friends have anyone else that they would like to lift up at this time? Liz?
Sally Merrill from Rio Grande Valley meeting died on March, I believe March 31st, just very recently. And I'd like you to hold her family, which includes Noah Merrill, who is the executive of New England Yearly Meeting, and the whole family in the light. Sally has been attending our meeting in COVID on a regular basis on Zoom, and so and also hold Volker, her partner, our longtime partner, who is still down there in the valley in the light. Thanks.
Thank you. Ann?
Many of you know Jan Michael, who is a member of Stillwater, Oklahoma monthly meeting, and Sue Garzone, his wife. Sue has recurrence of breast cancer, and it's been hard on both of them. So please hold her in the light.
Gladys? then John.
A member of our meeting, Margaret Britton, her mother Dolores is very close to passing, and they're dealing with other illness in their family too. So holding that family, the Britton family, in the light would also be very much appreciated.
Thank you. John? You're on mute still, John. There you go.
Beg your pardon. Please hold Jean Sizemore in the Little Rock Friends meeting in the light. Jean has quite an advanced form of aphasia, which has taken her ability to speak away. She is completely unable to talk. And there are other complications that this has brought about in terms of her being able to give herself nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. Jean Sizemore has always been a terrific spokesperson in her own special way for all things Quaker. She was not always able to come to yearly meeting, but being a friend was is still so very important to her. Thank you.
Don?
Yes, I'd like to ask friends to hold Millie Blair or Millie Pressfield in the light. She facilitated AVP workshops for several years and is in assisted living now in a memory unit. And just a week or two ago, she had her 87th birthday. And she can understand and carry on well and hear your part of the conversation, but she can't speak back the word finding and all. But if you tell her a joke or something funny, well, she enjoys it and gives a chuckle.
Thanks, Tom. Pam?
Well, I'd like for us to hold Denise Wilkinson in the light. She posted today or yesterday on her Facebook page about the lumpectomy she had last month and her surgery. Everything was went well. Margins are clear, but she's facing some 5 days of radiation. Her spirits appear to be very high, but still, radiation affects you, and it's hard. And so, please, can we hold Denise in the light?
Thank you. Yeah, she'll go into radiation strong. She starts on Monday after yearly meeting, so she's always so lifted after being at yearly meeting that the timing is as good as we could hope for.
She said, the markings to guide the radiation are permanent little blue dots. I told my family I got my first tattoo. Whoa.
Chris?
Yeah, I'd like to hold the caregivers for these people that are suffering from their maladies in the light. That's a very strenuous thing, particularly when we get to be older people.
Friends, I think sometimes we don't even realize till we ask who do we need to lift up in prayer, and then the names come flooding into us. Because of these deep relationships that we have, and moving from individual relationships to relationships with the wider Quaker world, I need an epistle committee. Like the way I did that? So, are there any friends interested in participating in epistle committee? I'll ask again later this week. If you're not, many of the faces that I see here have been on epistle committees before. You know, I will lift that up again on Thursday. But if any of you are interested or willing to consider it between now and when those of us who are meeting in person can gather, you know, please let me know. Okay, with that, I will move on to the preliminary nominating committee report. This is a first reading. So, Galia?
Unmute.
Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Yeah, again, talking to myself. Yeah, so my name is Delia Harrington, and I'm the clerk of nominating. And we have had a joyful and strenuous workout this past year, trying to find wonderful people. And I want to start with one in particular because it's relevant to what we're doing today. And we need to acknowledge certain things. So first thing I'd like to everyone to know is that Rich Coral has agreed to be the associate clerk. And I'd like to bring his name forward now to for any discussion or anything like that. But we personally were very pleased about it. We feel Rich has such a rich skill at touching people and being present, and so that I'm leaving it open to everyone to discuss.
Friends, Rich Coral's name has been lifted up as associate clerk. Our friends, do friends have any comments, concerns?
Only good things to say about Rich.
That friend speaks my mind. He'd be terrific.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Are friends willing to waive a second reading and approve a minute that Rich Coral be approved as associate clerk? Okay, I see thumbs up. Wonderful. So, Liz, do you have that? Okay. So now, what I couldn't do earlier, I will now do. I would like everybody to be introduced to the other person at the clerk's table tonight, Rich Coral. So, again, super excited. Rich, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think that I'm looking forward to it and appreciate the invite to serve the meeting in this way. So,
Thank you. Okay, Galia, would you like to proceed and do first reading of the remainder of the nominating report, please?
Yes, so I think what I will just talk about tonight, and I want everyone to know that you're more than welcome to talk to anyone on the committee. I want to first introduce the committee, and that would be Pat Sweet, Dale Bordelon, Larry Toberlon. Excuse me, I had a blank for a second. And then we have our former clerk. Right now, I'm really running a blank.
Karen Takamoto.
Thank you. That's embarrassing. Karen Takamoto. And we have a new person, Kimberly Nelson, that we're very excited to work with, that she has just agreed this past, like a couple of weeks ago. So she's just now on the committee. So we're very happy about that. As you can ask any of us, if you have a burning desire to serve, and we've knocked on many of your doors, but there's a couple faces I see that perhaps we have overlooked. And I don't want you to feel neglected or that we don't believe in you. We really do. We just haven't, it's hard to get the faces, especially when remote. So please talk to any one of us about where you're feeling like your skills are coming. Additionally, Karen's not here, but she has worked up a survey that we like to pass out to everybody when you get to camp that will talk about what you feel like your gifts or interests are in serving the meeting. And we're hoping to get some feedback that way, get some new names that we haven't thought of. And there's things that you know about yourself that we don't know. So that'd be lovely to find those things out. So on the sheet that you'll find posted, we have 3 positions in nominating. I will be stepping down probably in the summer. I'm giving the Austin meeting a little extra time to find somebody. So that's an opening in Austin. We have the Live Oak. Is that right? Yeah. No, Live Oak is off, so I need to take that off. Correct? I believe so, because it can't.
Kimberly's Live
All
Oak.
right. That is not true. So okay, so I have to get that fixed. So anyway, so Kimberly took that one, and then we have the Cielo Grande quarterly meeting that still needs to find someone for the committee. But for everything else, that's where we come in. We're in need of a co-archivist. They need to be someone that's from Austin, just because that's where everything's housed. So it would be hard for someone else to do it. They could work with Howard in that capacity, Howard Hawley. We need an associate on-site coordinator, beginning very soon to get ready for next year. Book sale assistant, someone in finance, FGC, and let's see, going down, on-site coordinator. Oh, yeah. I need to work on this page. Sorry. Yeah, I wrote it 2 different ways. Okay. SCYM registrar associate, senior young friend coordinator, and we need a couple of tech event committee people, if you're a techie type person. Treasurer, that we have it here, is called treasurer and training. So someone we're looking for would have a year to learn things and to then be able to be the treasurer the following year. So it's a really important year. We have 3 positions for yearly meeting planning. That's also very important to let this all happen as smoothly as it does. Youth program associate coordinator, youth program coordinator, and youth program support. We have 3 positions. And this is probably our weakest area, is just getting the people for the working with the youth. Everyone seems to be real willing to come and help and do an hour, and that's great. But we do need to plan ahead of time. And so having people that help plan that and then actually do the service would be something we're looking for. And I got a little taste of it this year, just jumping in and helping, and it was a lot of fun talking to folks and planning up things. So hope you consider it. Anyway, I think that's about it. Are there any questions?
So
Liz?
that,
Oh, I just see here
Yeah.
Lori says that Karen T, I'm sorry, I don't know that the last name. Oh, yeah, oh, excuse me, that Shannon, said that she, okay. I hadn't.
Kincaid. Kincaid is the last name. Shannon
Okay,
Kincaid.
wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. I hadn't heard that. Missed that somehow in the communication.
Galia,
Yeah.
if you're planning to make a form available at yearly meeting, at the in-person part of the meeting, for people to fill out their information, can we put that online, please, so that people who aren't going to make it to in-person could also fill out that form?
Yeah, and I will have to figure out a way for them to get it to us, but yeah.
Well, we can do a Google form if you would like to. If you would like to just give me the information, I'll do a Google form that they will go straight to you guys. So,
I'll get in touch with Karen to get the final draft of it. So,
okay.
yes, thank you. Okay. So yeah, so in total we have, I said 19, it appears that there are 17 vacancies. So since I double dipped on one position, so and then we have one that's been filled, so that's wonderful. So I'm excited there, and Lori, that's good news, very good news. We were hoping, she was thinking about it. So, okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so that's my first reading, and then we will bring them forward. I guess that's Saturday. Is that correct?
Right. I believe so.
So, yeah.
Haven't looked that far ahead yet.
Sure.
Any other questions for nominating? Thank you, Galia
Thank you.
and team. Let's see. Lori, are you ready to give a preliminary treasurer's report?
Yes. I'm going to share my screen here. Where did it go? There we go. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to move past this page because I'm going to read it out loud while we look at the other pages. I ran this through March 27th. Here we have our balance sheet for this fiscal year beginning July 1st to March 27th.
Hey, Lori, we're just seeing your directory.
What?
We're just seeing your directory.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me try again.
I can share it from the web if you want.
Okay, if you've got that handy.
Just gotta find it. But I will do it pretty quickly.
Well, wait, I've got it right here.
I also
Got it?
put the preliminary treasurer's report and budget presentation link in the chat.
Okay.
So all the reports are going to be in the chat as they come up.
Okay, how's that?
Yep.
Okay.
Now we see.
Okay. So here's our balance sheet. Our financial position remained pretty stable during the year. We had a virtual representatives meeting that had very little expense attached to it, maybe none. Our investments with Friends Fiduciary have been really up and down, as you might imagine, but currently it is a little better than it was this time last year. So we haven't lost a ton in that sense. So I guess that's good news. These are our major fund balances. This, of course, is the Boger principal. We never spend any of that. We just take the interest. So that will always be $28,000. It continues to grow as our investments continue to grow. When we get dividend checks, they are divided between the Boger Fund and spiritual enrichment. So those continue to grow. Delegate travel has also continued to grow. I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. This is what we spent on the yearly meeting event. No, that's not right. Yes, it isn't. Ignore that. Let me try again. This is what we've got in the event fund for representative meeting and yearly meeting. We earmark money every year into that fund to pay for yearly meeting. This is the FWCC Triennial Fund, which is not a triennial anymore, but I believe in 2024 there will be a meeting in South Africa. And the Total Young Friends Fund and Young Adult Friends Funds have been the same for a really long time. This is still what's left in our pandemic relief grant. I expected people to turn in receipts last year after yearly meeting for equipment they bought, and I still haven't gotten any of that. So if you've got receipts for technology for the yearly meeting, we can still reimburse you. So just be sure to, send them to me. Quaker and interfaith group contributions, they were made in accordance with the approved recommendation of Peace and Social Justice. Just sort of a review every year at yearly meeting, Peace and Social Justice confirms and decides on where, which Quaker and interfaith groups they're going to give money to. There's a $200 discretionary that they decide on every year that actually is paid the following fiscal year. So at yearly meeting, they're deciding what we're going to pay next year. I will tell you that last year they picked Friends Ugandan Safe Transport. And we are we are still holding on to $200 for Arkansas Interfaith Alliance. We can still pay that if I just get if I find out that if I get the go ahead and pay that. We've been holding on to that. I don't have all the details, but they were not able to accept the payment for a while. So when they are, we'll send them the money.
Pam, do you have a question? You're on mute.
Actually, it was on the previous page before we get much further. Ministry and Care is going to work on, I guess, promoting the Boger Fund and the Spiritual Enrichment Fund this year to remind our monthly meetings that these funds are there. So I just wanted to double check. The Boger principal is $28,000. So we have like $9,000 to spend.
In the Boger
Boger Fund.
Interest Fund,
right.
And spiritual enrichment is 14 to 18.
So there's no principle set aside on the spiritual enrichment. It just
No.
Those are the numbers for our committee to keep in mind. We don't want to drum up too much business. We sort of thought it might be in right order to drum up a little. We're going to be doing some more visitation. Now that things are opening up, we're going to do some more visitation, and we wanted to be able to talk to people about that. So good to know how much we have. Thank you.
Clerk, I wonder if I could comment on Lori's last point about the Arkansas Interfaith Alliance.
Yes.
This will be very brief. So yes, Lori and I have been in touch about this. And it turned out that this past year, actually the past couple of years, the Interfaith Alliance has been I wouldn't say turmoil, but in a state close to turmoil because of real serious changes that have taken place. And we decided not to accept the $200 because they were no longer having meetings. This is being worked on locally within Arkansas. The Interfaith Alliance is showing new signs of life and interest and purpose. And I expect that if not in 23, certainly next year, that we will be back in the row here for seeking the $200 to further that relationship. That's the update, and I appreciate the treasurer's patience.
Thanks, John.
So just to be clear, this was spent in this fiscal year. You know, and when Peace and Justice meets, they will choose something to be spent in next fiscal year. This is the Delegate Travel Fund. Costs are still down in that. More organizations, though, are returning to face-to-face meetings, and some are doing hybrid. Some of the ones that are doing hybrid appear to be raising their costs to kind of make up the difference. And, you know, you can totally understand why they would do that. But yes, we have spent money to send representatives this year to FCNL, to FWCC, and to Quaker Earth Care Witness, to Louisiana Interchurch Conference, and Texas Impact. But we still have a good amount in our delegate travel fund from years of not having travel. Val?
Yes. Just a heads up. I think our fiscal year ends, is that June 30th?
June 30th.
Okay. Well, I know that Kevin and I will be going to the Friends Peace Teams meeting in May. So we will do our best to send in our receipts before the end of the fiscal year.
Great. Thanks. Okay, and here we have event results. We didn't have any representatives meeting expense. It was done online. This is the amount that we transfer. It's just a paper transfer. It's not actually an account transfer, but we have this, we earmarked this every year for to subsidize yearly meeting, to help the operating account help subsidize the yearly meeting. So that's what you're looking at when you see that. We have, this is what our event insurance for yearly meeting is costing this year. And there has been printing of postcards. So that's our total event expenses.
I have a question about, it's on this page. You said, oh, the $6,000, is that where we can encourage people that can't pay, that need support financially to come? Is that where those funds come from?
Not directly. I mean, they don't really, I don't know, I think they don't necessarily come from anywhere. I mean, yearly meeting, with the exception of this $6,000, yearly meeting pays its bills. That's how we budget yearly meeting. If people need to be scholarshiped, we just don't take in income on them. And but it doesn't directly come out of this $6,000 or anything.
Yeah, the earlier figure that you saw, the $50,000 in total events, that's if our cost for doing yearly meeting is higher, then that account gets drawn upon. If they're lower for some reason, then funds get deposited to that account, and it's kind of a rainy day kind of a thing. But generally speaking, yearly meeting is intended to break even on itself. The $6,000 that you see transferred is an operating cost. I mean, it is something that is in our operating budget, and that when member meetings support SCYM, one of the things they support is that subsidy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, last year, we absorbed the cost of the room and board up to a point for people. So publication costs are minimal because we're not doing the newsletter right now.
We are doing a newsletter. We're just doing it online and it doesn't cost anything.
Right, exactly. Indirect costs like, web hosting and that sort of thing. But yes. Okay, this is our year-to-date costs overall, not just the events, but everything. You can see that event number is carried over here. This has been our dividends from Friends Fiduciary. We should probably have more by the end of the year. Usually we do in June. We've been budgeting $20,000 a year for member meeting support. This is all we've accumulated at this point. This is less than half. You can, on the next page, I think you'll be able to see the effect of that on our bottom line. Otherwise, nothing unusual. This is delegate travel. This is monies that we've set aside. Again, we set this aside for delegate travel, this aside for the triennial, this aside for yearly meeting. This is what we have spent to the Quaker and interfaith groups. So this has been our total operating expenses and net income overall. Now, this is just the operating budget. Here you can see the impact of being less than half, having received less than half of what was budgeted for member meeting support, because that's our bottom line right now. And that's not good.
I don't know what member meeting support means. Are we supporting meetings, or is the meeting supporting the yearly meeting?
The meeting is supporting the yearly meeting. It's been called by any number of names over the years, like an assessment or but each meeting is supposed to be, paying in.
Liz?
Lori, can you give us a list of who has and what meetings you've received from and what meetings you haven't? Because sometimes I know at our meeting we have to goose the treasurer to make that payment. So
I would rather, if it's okay with you, find the meetings that haven't paid and contact someone and say, hey,
okay.
over this weekend.
Will you do that? Thank you.
Yeah, Liz, Austin usually gives us hands a check to somebody at yearly meeting. That's usually when Austin gives a check.
That's what I was thinking, Bill. And that's a significant amount of that money. So
It is.
It is.
It is, but there's a lot of, I think we only have money from 6 meetings so far. That's a pretty small number. So I left the proposed budget the same as last year. I imagine some people are probably thinking, why don't you lower this amount if we're having trouble collecting it? But if we lower that amount, we've got to lower something down here. And I don't know what that would be. But anyway, this is our first reading of the budget and the treasurer's report, and it will be read again on Saturday.
Are there any questions?
Pam?
Well, I'm the treasurer of our little meeting, and my 4 or 5 little people are driving me crazy. And, you know, our whole annual budget is under $5,000. I just value you so much, Lord. And I want to praise you and sing thanks to you. Oh, gosh, you're a blessing. Amen. That's it.
Thanks, Pam.
John?
Clerk, I wanted to, I would say amen to what Pam just said about Lori's role. But I wanted to ask her, and I think indirectly you, the yearly meeting does have a finance committee. And I'm wondering if they are, in terms of getting more assessments in, this is a matter almost of you look at that operation and you think this is a matter of enforcement. Well, wait a minute, that doesn't quite fit. But yet the end result is about the same. We would like all meetings voluntarily to remember this support and how important it is. And I guess my question is the finance committee a factor in being of assistance, especially in that regard, or not? Are they asked to be of assistance, especially in this instance of the relationship with monthly meetings and their treasuries?
I don't know that they've been asked.
Right.
But it's a thought. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean the you know, there is a certain reality that, you know, contributions to most meetings are likely to be low or lower or recovering. I know, you know, that everybody who does nonprofit work knows that the leading indicator of a poor economy is people stop giving. And the lagging indicator that the economy has recovered is that people start giving. And, you know, we're still kind of in that kind of funny space. And, you know, I don't know, there seemed to be some discussion, in Quaker circles about, the notion that Zoom, that some donations went away because it's like, well, it's just on Zoom, you know, and for many meetings, there are still obligations that need to be met, whether or not they're meeting on Zoom or meeting in person. And so, you know, all of those dynamics, I think have been difficult to navigate. I believe finance is meeting on Friday night, so this is certainly something we can discuss. Anybody have anything else? Okay, so let's see, I've been advised that the AFSC report has asked to be put off to later in the week. Alex, are you still around? Alex McDonald?
I'm trying to unmute. Sorry. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And we have a pleasure of having Jacob Flowers, who will be joining us the in-person part, and he has offered to do a report directly on AFSC, and I think that would be a wonderful gift, frankly, to have it directly from Jacob. So if that would be okay, Saturday would be a wonderful option.
Yeah, I was contacted earlier. I just wanted to make sure that is in fact still the case. And I will find space somewhere in the schedule. I'm still getting requests in. So as I manipulate the schedule, I'll let people know if things have changed and when your slot will be.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Okay. Anne, report from the Quaker Religious Education Collaborative. And I do want to lift up a couple of things on that. So one is, Liz was obviously very involved at the inception of QREC and getting that off the ground. And for those of you who didn't know, when they did not have their 501c3 status, South Central Yearly Meeting served as their fiscal sponsor so that they could apply for grants to support them under our non-exempt status. And that's something that any nonprofit can do for another nonprofit. And the South Central agreed to do that. And so I think between Liz at the beginning and Anne's ongoing involvement and our willingness to help them get started financially, South Central played a really key role in getting this group moving along. So Anne, with that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your lifting that up, Bill. And I wanted to say that it's very nice to see that our yearly meeting is supporting the collaborative through the $300 donation that I saw just a few moments ago in the report. If you'll look at your chat, if the chat things, I've got the links for the various reports, and you can go to that and see the report that I'm reporting from now, because I won't be reading it to you. I'll be telling us about it. But for those of you who don't know, QREC is the Quaker Religious Education Collaborative. It's a community of practice for people who work with a religious education for across the ages, childhood through adulthood. And it's now cross branch and cross and international. They're QREC members in 6 continents. Not only can your monthly meeting be a member of QREC, you can as an individual. And to be honest, the money is wisely spent and definitely needed, because QREC is just a group of people trying to support each other, and they have an absolutely gorgeous website. I haven't done anything about it, so I'm saying this, but if you go to the website, and you'll see that on the list, on the report, that written report that I have for you, it's really beautiful, and it's got all kinds of interesting things that you can use for your own spiritual deepening. As an FGC has spiritual deepening library as well, which you can access. I think you can get links to that from the QREC website. But the website has a resource for children's education, youth, adult, small meetings. There's a general search. There's beautiful section on family. If you want to have something to do with your children at home, or your grandchildren, or your friends' children, there's a really beautiful section on family. Young adults, the African Quaker Library is there, and there's a Biblioteca is a resource library. Another thing I want to lift up to friends is the conversation circles. They happen, they're not every month, but they're most months, and they're definitely not during the summer usually. The conversation circles can be anywhere from 10 people to 30 or 40. But they are, when it says seated in silence, many conversations began with brief remarks from the friends with experience in the topic that's being discussed that time. And then it's open to everyone. And when it happens, it's either you can sign up for it's all free, either a Tuesday noon Central Time session and a Thursday 7 p.m. Central Time session during the week of the month that it's being held. One's on Tuesday noon and one's on Thursday evening. there was a really good one that I attended on October 22nd that a lot of people came to, and it was about experiments in meeting for worship, plain, virtual, and blended. So if your meeting is looking for ways to do blended or virtual or plain, well, we know how to do plain. Go to the website, and I've got the link in there on the report. That's the link for the report is in the chat. You can go see the conversation, the notes that were taken from that. The next upcoming conversation is going to be April 18th and the 20th. And they're going to be talking about, is your meeting friendly and welcoming to families and youth? So if you don't have families and youth and you want to be ready for them, this might be a really good conversation to participate in. And you can, and all you have to do is register. You just click on the link, you go in, and then the link for the Zoom conversation will come right to you. So you do have to register, otherwise you won't get the Zoom link. Other things they have are spiritual companion group gatherings. This is in partnership with Friends Peace Teams, and they are Power of Goodness online events. And if you don't know about Friends Peace Teams, Power of Goodness, they're really wonderful events where stories are being read and talked about, and you go into breakout groups with people from the West Pacific, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Philippines. I've been in amazing groups. I mean, there was one man from Indonesia in one of my groups one time, and he works with displaced people, and people who do really good work. But a lot of them are just young people who are trying to learn about how to live a nonviolent life and a peaceful life. There's going to be an adult religious education circle that's going to focus on Nadine Hoover, who's one of the leaders in Friends Peace Teams. Walking in the World as a Friend, Essential Quaker Practices. This is going to be a study group that's going to begin in June and run for 3 months. Then it's going to take a break, and then it's run for another 3 months. So you sign up on the website. If you look at my report, there's a link there for how you can purchase this book. And Nadine's done a lot of short videos, but she's talking about essential Quaker practices. And I think Quakers sometimes don't know how to articulate as well as we can the things that we do that deepen our spiritual life. So go check that out. I really encourage that. And then the annual conference that Kevin and Val were talking about, and I'll be attending that as well, is, they're talking about the Friends Peace Teams one, which I'm going to, but the QREC annual conference is hybrid and in person because it's international. It's cross branch and international, and it's still in the planning stages for this year, but it's probably going to be held at a Quaker church, home and motel hospitality. And then
In the fall.
In the fall. That's right. It's in the planning stages, but this fall. And then there's Faith at Home that I talked about earlier a little bit. It is really fabulous. I was just blown away when I saw it. Love at the heart of it all, active caring, spiritual practices, discernment, Quaker family culture, and finding the light. So I encourage you to go check that out. Again, the link is in the report. There's also a Facebook page for Valiant Together that was formed for COVID to support and connect parents at home. And but anyway, QREC is totally run by volunteers, just like we need volunteers here. This is a great place to spend your Quaker energy. And if you want to volunteer, all the conversation circles, all these different topics have a way of being well, not all of them, but there's a ways to volunteer. You can volunteer with the conversation circles, and if you go to the link, you'll see the different ways you can be involved. But I think I want friends here to know that A, you can be involved, and B, this is a great resource, and it's friendly. It's free. It's been it's a very user friendly website, so I encourage you to go check it out. QREC is a place to nourish us as we practice being practitioners of religious education for any age. Those are my comments. Open for questions if people have questions.
I wanted to point out to friends that Anne is leaving us. She's moving to New York, and I'm taking a stint as our representative to QREC again. But it's just, I told nominating committee yes, but I will really be looking for somebody else to replace me. It's not where I really belong at this point. And I know there's somebody in this yearly meeting who will really both benefit and benefit CUREC from representing us at CUREC. And it doesn't involve a lot at this point. It involves what you can do. But if you're involved in religious education, this is a really good place for you. And with the new adult religious education arm getting started, maybe somebody who does adult religious education wants to represent us. So I will stay there until there's somebody else who can, but it would be better if somebody else came on there.
And it would be fun to have a bunch of us doing this Quaker, Quaker
Walking in
the world as a friend, essential Quaker practices. That would
I
be
already know a couple of people from SCYM who have already signed up for that. So that's really good. Join us, friends. I'm going to do it. So.
Well, if I could just add one thing to what's being said here between Ann and Liz, these are the people, in my experience, so this goes back to the 70s, these are the people who, after you've been involved in Quakerism for a while, and especially if you have young children in your own family, you begin to ask yourself, where is the children's part of this program, this religious program? And if you're lucky enough to be in a meeting that's all taken care of and they have program offerings for children, you feel so blessed. But on the other hand, most of us encounter meetings where it's usually good, but it's not always good. And so you're always hunting for who is the Quaker? Who is the Quaker that knows children's programs inside and out? And fortunately, Tina and I were able to discover that back then FGC had someone, or they had several people. I don't remember exactly, but I remember what an assurance that gave us, this feeling that, oh, the Quakers, even at the highest levels, are thinking of this too. As a matter of fact, they've got it nailed. They're thinking much more about it, know much more about it. Again, such an assurance to parents. And so our meetings, this is a huge need, I suspect, in all of our meetings to make sure that record of offerings and that record of services to children and families is still being filled. This is such an important niche. I just wanted to say that it's so important to the lives of the community of friends. Thank you.
And I want to thank John for that. I'd like to add that the Spiritual Deepening Library that our FGC visitor, Nova George, is working with, that is another powerful resource that you can find on the FGC website. And I think there are links on the QREC website. When you're looking at things, they will point you to the Spiritual Deepening Library. But the Spiritual Deepening Library has testimonies and it has a whole bunch of series. There's dying. I don't remember all. We'll have to get Nova to tell us. But with many of those, there's also children's activities that are aligned with that topic. So you might find those if you go to FGC and look for resources, the FGC website, fgcquaker.org, or if you go to QREC. And I honestly don't remember the link to QREC. I just look it up because you're going to get Cutter first. There's a Cutter polo group or something that's QREC, but you have to do QREC Quaker when you're Googling, and it'll come up if you do QREC Quaker, unless you ride horses.
And Nova just provided the links to the Spiritual Deepening Library in the chat.
Great. Yes.
As well as the links for children.
Yes, it's a very good, there's some really wonderful things. It's beautiful. That's also a really beautiful thing. The way that the internet is, our religious websites now have gotten very sophisticated, I think, and having beautiful things that we can look at and share and learn from to work with all the ages. QREC is not just for families, it's for adults too. But we know how to help. We know how to share and grow as adults sometimes better than we do with children, and so that's where sometimes we need extra help. But it's great for all the ages.
Thank you, Ann. Also, I just want to circle behind the need for somebody to replace Ann. And I'll probably say this several times over the course of the weekend. South Central continues to be one of the only yearly meetings that pays for representatives to go to wider Quaker organizations in a wider community of friends. It's important work for a whole variety of reasons, including my favorite reason, which is sometimes friends need to hear from friends who live west of the Mississippi. Anytime we can provide that perspective, it truly adds to what's happening culturally in Quaker organizations. We all know monocultures are not good. Diverse cultures are robust and resilient. And I did not come to this perspective quickly. It took several conversations with friend John Coffin to lift that up to my way of thinking. And that was probably 20 years ago, and I appreciate John's perspective on that, and I've never forgotten it. Friends, we have two other reports, and I've been informed that both of them will only be a posted report to the SCYM's website, and that is the Louisiana Interfaith Conference report. Jim Johnson did go earlier this month and wrote that up. I know Pam, you received that, right? And Liz, did you get that one yet?
I just got it, and I have not had a chance to post it, but I will by tomorrow.
Thank you. And Suzanne Cole Sullivan is planning on attending in person. She did submit a written report for Friends for Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Concerns. Did she submit that already, or is she going to submit it?
I actually thought I saw it, but now I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I thought I did too, but I think maybe I just saw that she said, I'm going to send the report.
Maybe that's right. I'll check with her. I'll see if I can dig it up. I'll look first.
Thank you.
On my drive.
Does anybody have anything related to either of those two organizations that they'd like to lift up? Okay. So I'm aware of the time. I do want to remind friends to think about serving on the epistle committee. And with that, I'd like to ask Liz Wolfe to read an epistle, and then we'll go into closing worship unless anybody has any other announcements. Is there anything else? Okay, Liz.
Thank you, Bill. This is an epistle from the 76th annual session of the Pacific Yearly Meeting of the Religious Society of Friends. They sent it in English and Spanish, but I'm reading from the English version. Loving greetings to friends everywhere from Pacific Yearly Meetings Blended Annual Session, held from July 22nd to 27th, 2022 in the coastal redwoods at Mount Madonna Center in California on the original land of the Ama, Mutsun, Ohlone peoples. Pacific Yearly Meeting includes friends from California, Nevada, Hawaii, Mexico, and Central America. 177 people attended in person, including 11 children and 18 junior yearly meeting teams. Wild turkeys, deer, and stellage days were also frequent visitors. Over 100 attended online most days. Quaker discernment process offers a model for seeking truth beyond divisions in this time of wars and scars, climate devastation, social, economic, gender, and racial inequities. Friends are developing ways to mend past harms and move society toward a healthier future. Deep listening is an act of surrender. Worship deepens when friends are able to release regrets and worries with each exhalation and receive renewal with each inhalation in what Thomas Kelly named as continually renewed immediacy with the source of love. How might Pacific Yearly Meeting friends become living epistles, couriers of the regeneration? We are called to be bold with one another and a beacon of light for the rest of the world.
Thank you, Liz.
Friends, will you pray for me and my family? We have a family member who is right now in the hospital dying of pancreatic cancer. Her name is Barb Bergerlens, and she's the sister of one of the grandmothers of my grandchildren. Thank you.
Friends, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. And Godspeed to all of you who are traveling this week. And we'll be together soon. Thank you.